we're gonna be talking to one of my best students who is a success story on how a lost soul, somebody trying to find her way, found her way, and she's living her best life now. So we'll get into how she did that and like the long way she went through.
They don't allow dogs like this in New York, although if you really think about it, all they really need is just a little bit of recharging. Speaking of which, we should probably get him to recharge right now.
Oh, is it low?
Let's go. All right, he's gonna go recharge.
Oh man, the sun. I could see why nobody in California wears a hockey jersey.
Yeah.
It's hot as balls. My pits.
I know, but don't you love it?
Yeah. But you want to move?
It. Yeah,
you're gonna sit. Yeah, let's move in the shade.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
All right,
let's move right. This seems like a better place, sunny and less sweaty, and you could take your glasses off and everything. Sorry, camera crew. You know, I know you went through your crazy, difficult journey, right? In terms of working at Yelp and then
5 years.
It.
That was actually trust the process of something, a phrase that I learned at Yelp. And it's hard to do when you don't really know who's mentoring you. But as I got to know you and I, saw that you set things up purposefully, even though it may not seem like it at the time, that's why I have to trust in the system. So I've been very lucky to have you. Yeah.
I think you also, the thing that you have this marketing and sales background from Yelp, that you could really talk to the higher ups of engineers, what really matters. And it's not a sales pitch, but you get to distill what are the value points,
Exactly. And just at first, coming from a sales world where everyone is really sociable, for me that wasn't a skill. It was something I maybe took for granted, but now I really see that I can use that being personable to my advantage to bring research to the forefront. So shout out to Yelp for helping me out with that, and also my background in journalism as well. So.
Yeah, I know.
From Binghamton.
Yeah, SUNY.
Go Bearcats.
Yeah, that's what I can't believe that was
also.
We
went to SUNY.
We both went to school in upstate New York, which is also a connector. That's why you were so that's why you're undeniable. Because I wasn't looking for somebody. I literally wasn't looking for somebody, and I called you, and my mom's going through treatment. I don't know, I'm gonna bounce between here and New York all the time, and it's you're
I'm like, me too.
Yeah, you're down with that, and I don't know. I'm glad you put the trust in me. I think that's why we connected. You know? I think that's why we connected, because New York roots, hence this stuff. But
favorite colors? Red and gold.
Yes.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, I know, it's kind of weird,
Although you listen to nothing in the car, so that's kind of weird. I can't even say favorite band because
you're
listen
weird.
To music.
I don't listen to music because I have 2 kids. And they're always on me, right? And there's very few opportunities to just think and be with my thoughts.
I can't even listen to music sometimes.
I can't even take a poop without knocking on the door or something going on. So as an adult, you'll figure that out. I know, you're such a lost soul. You could even tell during your interview.
Okay, let me stop you there.
Okay, you were lost.
Don't appreciate lost soul. Okay. My soul is never lost. I often do get lost, but I think there's a quote. What is it? Damn, what's the quote?
I don't know.
Those who wander aren't always lost. Point is, yes, I knew I wanted to be in psychology, and I wasn't really sure how.
Being for journalism?
So during that year of COVID, while many had that time to be locked in and reflect on their lives, so did I. And so I knew psychology was the realm for me. It was something I always connected with. My mom is a therapist. I've been therapized since I'm out of the womb. So I'm very introspective. And during that year, I said, okay, I need to connect to people. Having been at Yelp for 5 years and talking to people every single day, almost in a therapeutic way to my clients in sales and marketing, I realized that that one-to-one level wasn't something that I could sustain for the rest of my life. So I made the choice to approach psychology more from a systematic level. So that's the IO psychology route, the industrial and organizational psychology route. I started to look for programs, and when I found CSUN and I saw that you went to Studio Oneonta, I'm like, okay, like I know where this guy is at on a certain level. You were on the interview, and it was, honestly, I blacked out during that interview. I have no idea what was asked of me, about me. But when you called me afterwards, that's when things really clicked, and I'm like, okay, this guy cares. And it seems like we'll click and I'll have the opportunities to get to the next place I want to be, which is a PhD program. So that was really helpful. But lost soul, not quite. I would say lost academically and like needed direction.
No, I would say lost. Well, you quit Yelp the first time to go travel for a year, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
When you told me that, I'm like, oh, this person is doesn't like contentments with things, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because what was there like a specific moment where you're like, I can't be at this place anymore?
Yeah, absolutely.
Was there a specific moment?
So I wouldn't say there's one specific moment, just an accumulation of moments where I realized I needed something deeper. That had more impact on a more meaningful level, not just someone selling ads to a business, which is, I'm sure, meaningful to some people on some level, but not for me. And when I realized, okay, there are people here who have been here for 5 years and they plan on being here for the rest of their lives, I'm like, that's not me. I'm not going to be a lifer in this industry. If anything, I don't mind coming back to the company. It's a great company to work for, but at a higher level and to help people who are working there, because I really thought that our mental health as salespeople who are making 80, 90, 100 dials a day to businesses. I did that every day for, 2.5 years in New York and then another 2 years here in California. It's draining. So in industrial and organizational psychology, if you're a practitioner working for a business and a company, you can help people who work there to make sure they're dedicating their life to a business, and how can that business dedicate themselves to their workers as well. So that's really where the roots of my interest in industrial and organizational psychology grew from.
Well, you were engaged in those leadership trainings, and you thought that was more your route than like calling people. I used to have to call people selling knives at Cutco, and it was so awkward, like, excuse me.
Yeah.
Do you want to? It doesn't go like you want to buy knives. They're like, excuse me, do you know this person? Well, they asked me to talk to you because you would like to improve your quality of life, It's just I don't know. Sales is. I learned a lot from sales.
Oh yeah, invaluable, relevant in every field.
Yeah,
but exhausting.
Yeah, I think that's probably why so many people just get burnt out.
So after those 2.5 years in New York, my boyfriend and I were just like, let's get the hell out of here. We need to try something else. So
you traveled for a year, which is cool.
9 months, let's say.
9 months,
not a full year. I can't take that much credit, but it was amazing. I got to see the world, but interestingly enough, I didn't really, find that answer that I was looking for. So I got to see a lot of what I wanted to see, but coming back and then knowing like, okay, I've accomplished everything in my 20s that I needed to do. Traveling, finding a job, finding a partner, living on my own. Came back and now it's like, okay, time to buckle down. Really figure that out. And, you have helped me do that a lot.
Yeah, I think that's why here at ARCS, it's like things are not linear,
Yeah, ARCS definitely helped with that, and just seeing that psychology just doesn't have to be in the psychology bubble, and engineering doesn't have to just be in the engineering bubble. Yeah. People who roll their eyes at STEAM, I would then just roll my eyes right back at them, because I feel like arts and social sciences and humanities is ingrained in engineering and in sciences because it needs to be disseminated to the general public, and that's where art and humanity and social sciences comes into it. So moving forwards, I know that's what I bring to the table is this cross-disciplinary perspective.
Yeah, 100%.
And continuing to study psychology from a technological perspective as well.
Yeah, let's go to the lab now. You guys want to come to the lab?
Yeah.
Let's go to lab. Welcome to lab, right? This is Lilac Hall. This is where we do the magic. This is where the magic happens. We're working on this trash project together.
Yeah, waste management.
I wasn't even gonna accept this. From being from Staten Island, known as like the trash landfill capital of the world in New York City.
For those of you that don't know, Staten Island in New York is actually built on a landfill. So it's the running joke that they're trash people.
Yeah, well, I would say...
But really, they're great.
I would say Long Island people are trash people, but they don't need to have physical garbage, just like regular.
Don't you mean Long Island?
Long Island, yeah, Long Island. Well, anyways, I think it's crazy. I literally can't escape my New York roots, especially when ARCS offered this opportunity of like, do you want to do this project on figuring out what's the human element of engineering technologies to make waste management better? It
was definitely a surprise when you came to me with this project. I was like, okay, that's kind of weird, but trusted the process. I'm one for the environment, although others may not be.
I hate the environment. The environment is so overrated. Well, anyways.
So I was like, yeah, this is a great way to tie in, making the environment better, also helping workers in this really horrible work environment, help them improve their mental health and their physical safety, and also start the introduction of automation within the industry. So
it's crazy just us being from New York and then seeing the California. New York is like dominated by unions, So all these conversations we have about like automation, especially in the waste management industries, are so needed, right? Because these technologies, a lot of the workers might not see that it improves safety, right? They just might be like, they're taking our jobs, just like in South Park,
Yeah, so, okay, in New York, you have the truck drivers that are literally like holding onto the back of the truck while the truck is slowly going, getting off, throwing it into the garbage truck, whereas here in Los Angeles, they're in the car and they have this huge arm that goes, takes the trash, puts it into the truck, puts it back down, and the workers don't have to get out of their seats. Far safer, given that it's one of the most dangerous jobs out there. So I would say, and this also goes to LA, California people being soft.
They are soft. LA is really soft, everybody.
But it's safer, perhaps. And I think that's a really great reason to work on this project, because it really envelops all three: workers, safety, and automation. Yeah,
but I don't know, it's weird. There's always this conflict between like the rational brain that's cognitive and the emotional brain, because especially we see this right now, and like this is why your thesis is so important, because despite it being safer and developing these technologies and reassuring people that this is not going to replace you, it's just going to change your job, people feel like, oh, this is gonna take my livelihood. I think this is why your thesis is such a great launching point.
Yeah. Also, which was something that was really fun, was getting to dig into the actual trash.
Yes, that was fun.
To see what that was like.
Yeah.
Which was gross. Now I know what it's like to be from Staten Island.
Oh wow. Well, anyways, I think the opportunity, to really become how the people who actually sort the trash, and us getting the opportunity to actually be the worker, like they just literally suited us up and then throwing
hard hat, gloves,
everything, the whole nine, right? And then us like here's a bunch of trash, sort the different plastics. I didn't even know there was so many different
polyethylene plastic. Like, okay.
Yeah. But I think one of the things, and I saw in you, like you had zero hesitation.
No, gotta dive right in.
Yeah, you literally like dove right in. And this is one of the reasons why like gives academia a bad look, essentially, because like professors are soft, or people just do things from the ivory tower, right? Meaning like they just do it through intellectually and don't really like dive straight in. But you really just dove straight into sorting trash with me,
Yeah, I mean, I figure if I'm going to research this field and this issue, then I have to have experience, or, like literally an experiencer too doing this versus just, doing it from behind the scenes and never touching a piece of garbage in my life. So totally worth it.
Yeah.
Do I want to do it again? But it was really very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And then one of the things that really like an unintended like consequence of that, because one of our JPL collaborators, Tom Liu, who was engineering this system to help use machine learning to better sort trash, you just dove right in, zero hesitations. I think that's what led to one of the reasons what led to you getting the NASA internship working with him. Your NASA internship was amazing in terms of like, how do we use augmented or virtual reality to test moon rovers, right? Moon rovers. But like, what the hell what are you doing? Like, I know you're saying you're having a little like struggle in the beginning.
Yeah, so if I could backtrack a little bit. So, Thomas Liu being at the digging into trash with us and seeing how we were really willing to get dirty, which is one of his, like, not his project, but because ARCS really interconnects all projects, he then, took my application and said, okay, Alex, like, let's see what you got. Come to JPL for the summer. And that was a huge honor because, like, being among all of those interns, being, from Stanford and MIT, coming from CSUN, which is an HSI, Hispanic Serving Institution, like, it gives us, fighting chance, to prove ourselves. So as also one of the only psychology interns, I was really able to bring the human aspect alive. They're working on a augmented reality simulation where rovers are traversing the moon's surface. That's powered by AI and LLM like ChatGPT, for example. So the users in the augmented reality goggles can command the rovers through the AI on what to do. Okay, great. That's what they're trying to materialize. It takes a lot of work. They're not focused on what that does for the workers, for the scientists, for the engineers. Is it something that brings on more stress in their lives, or is it something that relieves stress from their lives?
Yeah, 100%.
Maybe some of the engineers were worried that this, AI assistance is now going to replace their coding jobs. So all very prevalent issues. And again, it's making sure that the technologies that the engineers and the scientists and technologists are introducing are not taking away from the workers, but adding.
Additive, yeah. I think that's always a thing. Everybody, especially we see with the Apple Vision Pro and Mark Zuckerberg trying to push like metaverse. It's like, is it actually adding to the quality of work, quality of life? I think it does in a place, but if like technology is jammed down your throat, it's like, so I don't know. I think that's where we come in as the human element. Like, exactly. where's the added value? But that's like missing. It's always missing in terms of like, oh, we could do this cool technology stuff, but it's like this is where I think social sciences, especially us as psychologists, are going to be so impactful. And ARCS gives us like that platform. Usually engineers, honestly, I don't know if they would ever even consider those elements, especially the psychological element. They're human factors people, which is a little different, but like, especially when we work with, when we did that Mars sample return or did all our Mars projects, really highlights like the need for understanding how teams really work together.
Yeah. ARCS does a great job at really bringing people together. And I feel like when I tell some people about STEAM, they're like, what's STEAM? And then I get that major eye roll when I say it's also arts and humanities. And they're like, oh, well, we're just including everybody. And I said, damn straight we are including everybody, because it's essential for the humanities and for the arts to disseminate all the work of scientists and engineers to the world. Otherwise, like,
Yeah.
Nobody cares?
Yeah, but I think
Less people.
things have to be beautiful and pretty and aesthetically pleasing, I think when people who are in STEM well, let me step back. I think arts people sometimes are too flowery, What's the
Wait, just be clear, you're saying arts.
Arts.
Not arcs.
Art people,
Arts
right?
people.
Art people, like we think about starving artists and art people being very flowery. I guess funneling that towards like something usable, I guess that's where the engineering part happens, So I guess the engineers and them working together with the art people, the design people, I think that
comes together to really make something beautiful and flowery.
Yeah, it's not flowery. I would say aesthetically pleasing, but being able to like talk the different languages of designers and engineers, and even within engineers, mechanical engineers, like our Jared, right, are in our lab. It's like that's different than a software engineer, So I think we're the bridge ultimately, like people who are
Bridge builders,
literally, and I think that's probably why we've been invited to all of these projects about the Martian rovers and studying those team dynamics, and just even the Mars sample return on how do we set up the best teams. I think it's actually a big honor, especially at CSUN. Like you were going back to what you were saying, it's not like the R1 institution, right? But I think we definitely are making an impact.
But it's hard to like build it from the ground. And that's really what we're trying to do.
Yeah, and that's honestly one of the reasons
why this building exists.
Yeah, exactly. It's because we're started from the bottom. Now we're here. We're trying to really. Well, let me start there. Well, especially me, like being first gen and my parents immigrating here. I think that is like really important to me. That underdog mentality. It's a different mentality when you're the underdog and rising, and clawing your way up until then actually like being like having something, a platform for you, that's why I guess I do the work I do, because it's, I don't know, you just carve out your niche,
carve out your path.
Yeah, just like what you do, honestly. It's like you're just carving out like where you could be valuable and helpful, and
like, okay, what is the impact of these technologies on the people? So we can start that dialogue between what's being introduced and how it's being interacted with.
Like, what do you get to do when like people, especially who are emotionally tied, like you're going to take our jobs with like this automation and they don't want to comply or don't trust it? Like, how do you even supposed to like, I don't know, there's the emotional brain and there's the rational brain, right?
Yeah, it's tough. It's a very...
This is where, this is where...
It's a very sticky situation.
Yeah.
But I would say, like, we're no longer in the work world of 20 years ago. You have to develop your skills more quickly, and you can't sit on your laurels and just coast at your job. If you really want to make it, you got to adapt.
Yeah, but it's really hard to say for somebody who's been 20, 30 years in.
What do you mean?
Like somebody's 20, 30 years sorting trash or picking up trash and sorting. Like, it's like how do you say, oh, it changed the way you work? It's like the same thing about like telling truckers learn to code, right?
Yeah, no, you make a very valid point. It's gonna have to do with training. It always goes back to learning and teaching and developing.
Yeah, but people pick those professions because that's like, it's just, they don't want to learn. They just want to do.
So to that, I would say a lot of people don't pick to sort through waste. And that's why they have a really hard time finding people to stay in the job.
I guess that's why it's turnover, yeah.
Super high turnover.
Yeah. I think this is where honestly the psychology comes in, talking to those, because I studied 3 years at City College, going back to CUNY, like, it's like you have to do the understanding, your mom's a therapist, it's like you have to, regardless of who you talk to, you have to empathize, perspective take, and then go from there. I think that gives a long way, to getting people to adopt shit,
I mean, I think what you were getting at was, like, for example, in sales, they were introducing a new technology and I didn't like it. But I feel like if workers feel that the skills they're learning will make them more marketable to future jobs. Like that is another aspect.
So just to recap this all, you don't have to be an engineer or a software developer to really get value in STEM. You know, I felt lost my whole life, and you get that curse of feeling lost in the social sciences, but really we carve our niche, you know, because all this technology, all this stuff with robots and algorithms, what we really needs is that human-centered touch. And I guess that's where we really pitch in as psychologists, you know, and driving that conversation as opposed to be like, oh, you're going to need human factor stuff, you're going to need design stuff. So I think, I'm sorry, it's going to be a curse for you, you know, that feeling lost, right? But I think that is I don't know, it's a good place to be lost sometimes, you know, because once you lost, then you find yourself sometimes. Yeah,
and like you said, it's carving your way. And I feel like we're needed in that realm because they have their heads down so often. It's like, okay, well, we're here to like lift the heads up and bring in the human aspect.
Yeah, because the humans, without the human part, you're just going to be Terminator, right? You're just going to be Skynet. We've done so much together, you know, especially, you know, you've done so much with ARC, you've done so much with me. What does your future look like?
Honestly, my foresight caps out at 5 years, which is the duration of the PhD program. But I definitely know I want to do some teaching, but also be in industry if possible. If there's one thing I know for sure is that you're not done with me yet, and our working together isn't going to end here. I anticipate working with you in the future too.
Yeah, I know, like people make the projects, right?
Yeah, people make the projects, and you took a huge chance on me when you took me in such a hard part of your life, you know, with the passing of your mom and kindred. And I was a hot mess. I knew I wanted to be in psychology, but what exactly did that mean? You've just been amazing, and it will be impossible to replicate that relationship again in the future, which is why I'm just going to continue it.
Yeah,
I'm in denial.
I know you're in denial because
I'm in absolute denial.
I guess this is like a special time in our lives, right? Because you were a lost soul, but I was also, you took a chance on me because, you know, I was going through that stuff with my mom passing all of a sudden, and like, it was just a lot, you know, and.
We're going to, listen.
I know.
I will still be texting you at 11:30.
Yeah, I probably won't answer.
I don't care. That's okay. I just know that it's about stupid shit too, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not always going to be about school. It's going to be about the pizza that I've eaten, and you're going to text me about, I don't know, the Crocs that you had to wear because you forgot your sneakers. Yeah. And so it might be an end of a chapter.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be the end of our chapter.
Yeah, my dream would honestly be for you to come back here, you know, because, you know, I took a chance on you, like, because I had no idea. You reminded me of me, right? Like, you don't know what you're going to be doing specifically. It's like nobody knows what I was going to do specifically in anything. Everybody always just took that chance and knew I was going to do something great, and I see that with you.
And that's the first time I've ever really felt that way too. Like someone in like an academic setting, especially, really believing in me, because I have a lot of my own self-doubt that is very hard to talk down. But you have continuously shown confidence and faith in me, and like has meant so much, and it will continue to mean a lot. And I have to do that for myself in the future as well, and I hope to bring that to people I mentor in the future. Thank you. It's also like the fact that you're almost exactly 10 years older than I am, so like sure, professionally you're ahead of me, but also in terms of like friendships and life events, it's just been me being able to go to you and talk about life things and how they tie into school and how they tie into careers. You've just been very much been able to be real and tell me what to expect, give me different perspectives that are more zoomed out. And I don't know if, others will have that same sort of investment in me. So every second that we've had together, I truly value. And I know I won't get that in the future to the same degree, but yeah, you're not like, I don't think you'll be able to shake me.
Yeah, well, I guess the kind of brings it all home, it's like, you might feel lost, right? But I don't know, you have to be in a low place or you just never know,